Hey, you guys. Yeah, we're a little bit later today.
Yeah, I think later's better.
We're trying to decide. We're like sitting here going, yeah, because for a while, like I said, we moved everything to 5 because we said, oh, it'd be easier for everybody to remember instead of like 3, 3, 3, sometimes 3, sometimes 5.
You know?
But yeah, then when you were saying, because we've been doing this matinee shows at 5, and you're like, well, there's really not that many people showing up for them. And I was like, maybe it's just because people at least in this time zone, are commuting home from work and they're not home yet. So maybe we should like
push them back.
Push things back to like 6 or 7.
Because you already got a pretty good crowd in there.
Maybe it's just the word whorehouse in the title that brought everybody.
Hold on. Let me get my drink. I left my drink in the other room.
Okay. Yeah, so we told you yesterday we actually hadn't decided because we were doing like the Burt Reynolds trifecta this week. We've done like a lot of Burt Reynolds movies now that I'm thinking about it. But we hadn't decided which one we were going to do last night. So we were like scrolling through all the offerings on Amazon Prime. And they have an alarming number of Burt Reynolds movies on there. Not all of which are free. Most of them you had to pay for, but that's okay. And so we were going to do Stick. And then, I don't know, we were scrolling through and Tom's like, I don't know, I kind of feel like more in the mood for like a fun comedy. And I was like, well, do you want to do Best Little Whorehouse in Texas? Which actually I had seen. I saw that a bunch of times like back on cable back in the 80s. I feel like the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas was on cable all the time back in the 80s.
I never saw it. This is the first time I saw it. It's pretty good. It's a musical.
It's a musical. So don't get like, I mean, it's based on an actual like Broadway musical.
We've said many times on the shows that we love musicals. I'm the only straight man that likes musicals.
Well, maybe not the only straight man, but or like I said, one of the only straight men that'll admit he likes musicals.
I like musicals. Now, we're not talking about something as slick as Grease, or but it's close. I mean, it's taking place in Texas, so it's got kind of a fucking country kind of a fucking motif to it. Although there is like rock and classical in it too, but it's good. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. A lot of fucking fucking boobs in it. You got Dolly Parton, who is a Southern girl. Oh, I'm going to call it, she was a girl in the movie. She's a Southern woman of legendary proportions, and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, that's some gravity-defying boobs she had in this one. Every time she was in a scene, Tom kept saying, look at that, it's amazing.
That woman's amazing. Yeah, that woman's amazing. I said, Jen, we're going to get you a bra. I was like, Jenny, how much of that do you think is bra, and how much of that is boobs? She looks great, and there's a lot of good, she's a great actress. A lot of people don't realize that. Fucking she could act. And unlike some of these other movies that I was talking about, like, well, the Southern accents are accurate. Her Southern accent isn't accurate. It's real. That's the real thing. Everybody in our all the women in our family sound like this. That same high-pitched kind of tone, and just the banter between her and fucking her boyfriend, who's played by fucking Burt Reynolds. It's like, oh man, that's the way fucking everybody talks. That's the way people really talk. You're talking about fucking UFOs and Jesus and shit.
That one long scene, I kind of love that one long scene where they just kind of like go up to the bluff or whatever. They're like to look at the stars. They go up there with like a 12-pack. Yeah. And they're just like kind of hanging and like talking to one another. Yeah. And it's delightful. Mm-hmm. Like it just seems like a very like natural conversation that they have. Like I said, going from like UFOs to talking about Jesus and all of a sudden it's like really, really
who
funny.
Was Jesus? Who was that dude?
So
he was a great speaker, a great entertainer.
But yeah, this came out in 1982. Yeah. Now, it was based on the Broadway play, which had first come out in 1978. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen the Broadway play, but the plot is pretty similar. I think the only thing that's different is maybe the ending is slightly different. And I think in the play, they only, Dolly and Burt's characters, Mona and, what's his name? Ed Earl. Those two just had a one-night stand, like a long time ago, whereas in the movie, they kind of, like, see each other all the time.
They're a regular item.
Yeah, they're kind of, like, not boyfriend-girlfriend exactly, but they are kind of, sort of. You know what I mean?
Bert's kind of cheating with her.
Yeah, kind of.
Girlfriend.
Well, see, I don't think that other woman, they didn't really make that clear. I think that he didn't, I think what happened, because he says to Dolly Parton at one point, so I know their characters have names, but, you know.
Yeah.
He says to Dolly Parton at some point, he's like, I haven't slept with another woman for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So he's not sleeping with that other woman.
He's just dating
He's just dating her. And I think that, well, because remember when they had that argument near the end and Dolly Parton says to him, you're just using that other woman and her kid as like a pretend family and you don't have to like make a commitment to them.
Right.
You know, because you're not sleeping with her, you don't live with them, you're not married to her.
Yeah.
You know, you just, whenever you want family stuff, like he says, oh, he spends Thanksgiving over there every year and shit like that. So he just wants that, like, but without having to commit to that other woman.
Dom DeLuise is in this, does an amazing performance. Dom DeLuise was a dude from Brooklyn. He went to Tufts University. I lived on the Tufts campus for a while when I got out of the Army. I lived there for a few months, right across the street from Tufts University. Had a girlfriend who went there, and he was Burt Reynolds' real life friend. He can do a Southern accent though. He sounds Southern, but he's not. He's from Brooklyn and he's Italian. Okay. But he understands it. It's a great movie. The movie's good, and they point that out in the movie. He's playing this fucking busybody who's a consumer advocate who wants to get this whorehouse shut down. He's on television, and he's talking about I can tell when somebody's fake and when somebody's not who they say they are. And he's putting on a damn corset, stuffing a big fucking sock down his pants to make his fucking junk look bigger. Did he put on a wig and everything?
Yeah, he has like a wig. It's like a little Lord Fauntleroy type.
Yeah, and he goes,
he's
speaking in a fucking, and he's speaking in a super Southern accent, talking about the South. He goes, where are you from? And he goes, I'm from Brooklyn.
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
He says New Jersey.
You're from New Jersey?
Yeah, he said New Jersey.
So there was nothing real about him. He wasn't even from the South. The character. It's just a great. And
like the Texas clothes that he wears like these really over the top, like glittery, like cowboy type.
And a wig.
And stuff. Yeah. It's like really funny. Yeah, he's like a really like over the top character.
A fake Texan.
Yeah.
He's a fake Texan.
So yeah, that's kind of, you know what? The whorehouse in this, which is called the Chicken Ranch.
Yeah.
Is based on a real place.
Yeah. There
was a place in LaGrange, Texas, that was opened, I believe, in the early 20th century, 1905, 1910, something like that. Yeah. And it stayed open until the early 1970s. I think it closed in like 73 or 74. And all the stuff that they say in here, like the narration about the place where it's like, you know, during the Depression or whatever, they took payment in chickens and said that they had so many chickens. Yeah. That's absolutely true. That's why it ended up being called Chicken Ranch.
They just bartered.
Yeah, so so that's why. So all the kind of like lore about this place is, even though this is set in Gilbert, Texas, the actual Chicken Ranch was in LaGrange. It's not there anymore.
Right.
But it was based on a real place. So yeah, now the director for this, interestingly, was Colin Higgins. This was the last film that he directed. He also directed 9 to 5, which Dolly Parton was also in, of course. I think it came out a couple years before this. And Foul Play, do you remember that one? That was Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
And I think Burgess Meredith was in that too. I remember really, really liking that movie. I saw it like a bunch of times back on cable in the day, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Colin Higgins also wrote the screenplay for Harold and Maude, which is one of my very favorite movies of the era. So there's that. But yeah, so Jim Nabors is in this too.
Yeah. Pretending to be straight.
Fucking Gomer Pyle. Yeah. He's kind of like, well, he's Deputy Fred,
right.
Or as we called him, Cockblocker Fred.
Yeah, he cockblocks.
Because there was like a running gag that like every time Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton were getting ready to like get down to some business, like Deputy Fred would show up at the house being like, you know, Chief, you gotta, like, Sheriff, you gotta go someplace. You know what I mean? So we called
There's a lot of plugs for Fredericks of Hollywood in this movie.
Well, there was that one scene where she like bought a bunch of stuff at Fredericks of Hollywood.
Wasn't it Fredericks? Yeah.
Yeah, Fredericks of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Where she had bought all this stuff.
There's plugs for that.
And then, well, that extended scene where she had bought herself all this really nice stuff and, like, you know, dressed up all in it. Yeah. And she bought him a pair of, what do they call it, a Japanese slingshot?
Yeah. It's kind of like
these little like black panties with like silver snaps on the side for easy removal. So she bought him those, and he was like the biggest baby about like putting them on, even though she had bought like this big elaborate like outfit with like stockings and corset and all this other stuff. And he's just like, oh, I just absolutely can't put these little panties on or nothing like that.
And then like a G-string.
She finally, I don't even think it was. I think it was more like booty shorts or booty
shorts kind of
And it was just funny because. And then, like, he finally, like, deigns to put them on, and then he runs through the room so fast it, like, jumps out of the blanket that she couldn't even see it.
Yeah.
It was just, like, funny. That scene was, like, super funny. Yeah. But, yeah, so, story behind it, like I said, they kind of had this whorehouse, which, like, you know, technically illegal, but it was kind of legendary. Everybody knew about it. Everybody was just kind of like, it's an institution. You know, back in the World War I, like, guys went there, and then when World War II came along, they took their sons there, and, like, it was just this big thing. And there's, like, a big thing later with those two college football teams, and it's like whoever wins, like, the Thanksgiving game, like, they all their coach like treats them to a party there. So it's kind of like this institution, even though technically, like I said, it's illegal, but everyone's just kind of like looking the other way, and everything is working out fine until Dom DeLuise's character. His character name is Melvin Thorpe, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. He's kind of like this, you know, TV star. He's kind of like, you know,
kind of like Geraldo
or something like that. Yeah, where he's just kind of like wants to expose things to cause like outrage.
Yeah.
So he kind of has this like ridiculous TV show with like backup dancers and everything like that. Where so he's trying to like moralize about this place, and so he's trying to get Burt Reynolds, like the sheriff, to, you know, admit that he's like taking bribes to keep it open and shit like that, which he's not. And so that's kind of where the problem starts, is he keeps getting involved, and then Burt Reynolds probably doesn't help matters when he gets like really upset at the dude and like screams at him on camera and like shoots his gun in the air and stuff like that. So
Burt does not have a singing role in this.
He sings a little bit.
Not much.
On the one, I think initially they were gonna get somebody else for this, but then when they got Burt, that was part of his contract. He said, well, I want to sing.
Okay.
So the one song that they did in the whole Fredericks of Hollywood scene, which was actually, it was not in the Broadway play. That was an original song that Dolly Parton wrote for the movie. Sneaking Around, I think it's called.
Yeah,
or Sneaking Around with You.
He did sing on
right. Yeah, so he wanted to sing. So he sings a little bit on that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only time he sings.
Now the dude that plays the governor, he was in a bunch of shit. I think didn't he also play the dude Baron Harkonnen from Dune? Isn't that same guy?
No, that's
he just looked kind of similar.
Yeah, that's I can't remember his name right now. I don't think it's the same guy.
And you would never. He's been in a bunch of. I think he's been in a bunch of Burt Reynolds movies.
Well, he was in the last one we saw too. He was the head of the Vice Squad.
Yeah, in Sharky's Machine.
In Sharky's Machine.
He plays the governor.
Charles Durning.
He fucking sings a whole song and dance number. It's fucking hilarious. He's good.
About sidestepping. Because when they ask him questions, he's always kind of like stepping over there, so like not answering anything.
Stepping to the side. When the media asks him questions, he sidesteps. It's just a funny song.
Well, originally, you know this is what happens when you like start researching movies. You find out all kind of fun shit. Originally, for that role, they wanted Mickey Rooney, who obviously, song and dance guy. But Burt Reynolds convinced them. He's like, no, I think you should get Charles Durning because, Mickey Rooney's awesome, but everybody knows he can sing and dance.
Yeah.
Nobody knows Charles Durning can sing and dance, and it'll seem like you discovered it. You know what I mean? So that's
he was right.
Because I didn't know that Charles Durning could sing and dance.
Yeah, he was good.
But that's like a funny. He just has one song, but he does. It's like toward the end. But that's super funny.
Yeah.
This actually, it's interesting because this had whorehouse in the title, obviously this is 1982, so you're going to run into some problems in some states. So a lot of newspapers wouldn't print ads or had to like censor it or had to call it something else. I've seen it called the Best Little Cat House in Texas, Best Little Chicken House in Texas. Some of the ads, they just like bleeped it.
Yeah.
It was like, it's really stupid, but yeah. I remember, because I remember when this came out, I think I probably saw this when I was probably 11 or 12. And I remember like being really scandalized because I was a little kid, and I was being really scandalized. I was like, oh my god, they're showing a movie that says whorehouse in the title.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it's like, you know what I mean? Because it seemed like a dirty word back then because I was a little kid, but you know what I mean. But yeah, so there was a kind of a problem about that, and you know, so I guess some of Dolly Parton's maybe fans didn't really like it all that much. Although it didn't stop the movie from being a massive fucking hit. It was the highest grossing musical comedy of that year, the live action one anyway. And actually, I think it was the 4th highest grossing movie that year.
Yeah.
You know, so it did really well. It made like $70 million.
Yeah. Bob's saying they couldn't make a lighthearted movie about prostitution nowadays. Too much woke. You're actually white. Right, I think.
You're actually white?
You're actually white, yeah. You're actually right, I think. There's a lot of... It is a lighthearted movie, and they do kind of talk about it like, what, you know, like nothing's really dirty going on here. They're just, you know what I mean, everybody knows each other, and there's a bunch of rules. You can't drink in here, and, you know, they talk about nobody's complaining, and they're paying taxes. They're just regular working people. And that they're giving money to the fucking Little League club so they could buy new uniforms.
Miss Mona is giving money to like charities, and they've been around forever.
Yeah, and that everybody likes Miss Mona, who's played by fucking Dolly Parton, and that she's a good person. And nobody's really enforcing the laws on them because it's been around for so long. Because it has been there back when that was legal. So they're not really doing anything about it. And this, when the movie starts off, she's singing about this is just a little piss-out town in Texas. This isn't anywhere in the spotlight. You know what I mean? It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of out in a really rural area. So you kind of have to go like way out of town to go there. Yeah, I mean,
it's not in anybody's face. You have to go out there to go find it.
Yeah. And the thing about it, too, is that because the place has such a reputation, and because it's always been run by just, like, a madam who's always, like, really nice to all the girls that work there.
Yeah, they don't allow pimps.
They don't really allow any of that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost kind of got to a thing where... I mean, nobody's really there against their will necessarily. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody they get mad when they lose their jobs.
Yeah, like everybody seems like they're there for, which, like I said, you know, yeah, it's lighthearted, making lighthearted prostitution. But honestly, I mean, there's brothels, legal brothels
all over
Vegas and stuff like that, and you know, in Amsterdam and other places like that. I don't have a problem with them as long as people aren't like forced to work there. If you want to choose to work there, then more power to you. And actually, they kind of it's interesting because they kind of go into that in this movie too, because Burt Reynolds, like as the sheriff, he actually goes to the capital. He goes to Houston or whatever. Is he going to Houston? I don't remember. Yeah. He goes to Houston to like talk to the governor, and you know, he basically says, you know, the girls aren't being forced to be there. It's like, you know, this is their job. It's their livelihood. They pay into the community, and it's like it's a community service, and so they're kind of like they go a little bit into the whole like prostitution legalization issue, not like so much that it's heavy-handed, but they do kind of like bring it up.
And there's a lot of Southern characters in here throwing their 2 cents in, and it's kind of across the board. Like one guy thinks, we got to have this because there's all these young men around here, and without this whorehouse, they're going to be out raping people.
Yeah, he says.
That's what he says.
He says that. Was that the same actor that played
Cal.
like? Yeah.
Played Cal.
I've seen that guy in everything.
And then another guy was going like...
he's like, they'll just go around raping people.
Let's go around raping people. And then another guy, he's like, yeah, I don't really understand why they're so upset about this, you know. And he goes, in a way, it's like something from the past. I mean, there's a whole sexual revolution that went on already. We kind of don't need this anymore just because, you know, there's no... People are all have sex anyway. You know? So... it tries to it gives a good like variety of Southern opinions about prostitution from those days. Yeah. And they're across the board. And very few people were condemning it. The guy that was condemning it wasn't from the South. He was a fake Southerner.
Well, and he didn't. The point of the movie was he didn't really care about it one way or the other. He was just doing it to get TV ratings.
Yeah, about TV ratings. He really didn't care.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit about it. Right. He didn't give a shit about you know, all the people that worked there, or because she had like a fuck ton of women working there. Holy crap!
20 of them maybe.
God, there was more. I think it was more than that.
Yeah,
it was a lot. She had a very large staff.
Yeah.
That house, by the way, it's based on a real house, like they built it, but it's one of the ones that's I think it's on the Universal backlot. I think that's the same house that they used in House of a Thousand Corpses too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I thought that house looked kind of familiar. But yeah, so I don't know, I thought it was like kind of cool. The songs are kind of fun. You know what's crazy? The one scene where all the football players, the Aggies, where they all come to the whorehouse and all the women are dressed up in like prom gowns or ball gowns or whatever. They're trying to make it look like a big college dance or whatever. And then like they whip all the skirts off and they have the garter belts on and whatnot. And so they're dancing with them. That scene reminded me very, very strongly of the prom scene from Grease.
Yeah.
Like some of the dance moves, even the song a little bit. Gave me a little bit of a hand jive kind of vibe. Not exactly, but it kind of sounds sort of like it.
Yeah.
And they used a lot of the songs from the actual Broadway play. Like I said, that Sneaking Around song was one that Dolly Parton wrote. And then they used a little bit of I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
That big song that she had.
Yeah, and Jenny brought up during the time we were watching it, because a lot of people think that this is...
that's a Whitney Houston song.
It's a Whitney Houston song.
It's not.
No, it's Dolly Parton.
It's a Dolly Parton song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out in 1974.
Dolly Parton could
1974.
Dolly can sing, and she was always cute, all right? You go back and go look at her and listen to her. Her falsetto was almost kind of like a yodel. That was a real old school fucking country sound. And she was always cute. She admits that, she had boob jobs. She got bigger and bigger as she went. And
she's pretty big in this one.
Yeah. And she still looks good for being fucking 70-something, Of course, there's nothing natural about that woman, She's totally man-made, but she looks great for her age. And
well, didn't she? Isn't one of her famous quotes like
"Little bitty woman"?
It's really expensive to look this cheap, or something like that.
Yeah. There's a fucking great clip where she goes on Barbara Walters. Barbara Waters? No.
Walters.
Yeah, Barbara Walters. And Barbara Walters, this is back like in the early 80s, tries to humiliate her. You could tell she was a jealous bitch, man. Barbara was fucking jealous of her. Basically tries to humiliate her, basically saying, you're poor, you're uneducated, you're ignorant, your boobs are fake, and you got fake hair. And shit. And fucking Dolly handles her fucking well. And when you read the comments underneath, fucking Dolly came off fucking smelling like a rose and just looking like fucking super classy, and fucking Barbara Walters came out looking like a fucking evil, jealous bitch behind that shit. But fucking, I remember that fucking, I went back and saw that when I was listening to her stuff earlier, and I was just going, God damn, man. Bitches, man. Bitches are mean, man.
Dolly always seemed
Dolly
to
was
me,
fucking class act.
She seems like a delightful person.
Yeah.
And her like I really love like the whole interaction between her and Burt Reynolds in this. They just seem like they're having I don't know if this is true, but they seem like they're having the time of their lives.
Yeah.
They just seem like just very cheerful and just full of goodwill.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a really fun. They seem like they're just having a fun time, like on this fun ass movie.
Dolly was from Virginia, wasn't she?
Oh, I don't know. I thought Tennessee, but I could be wrong about that. Where is Dollywood? I thought isn't Dollywood in Tennessee?
I don't know.
Am I completely crazy? Am I just like I can't even remember why I know that?
No, it wasn't. Somebody goes, Kevin's, was this softcore porn? No, it wasn't softcore porn.
There was a porn parody of it.
Yeah.
There is like the worst that's in this. You're gonna see boobs,
ass,
and a bunch of asses, male and female.
Yeah.
No junk, far as I know. No vag.
No.
It's mostly just boobs.
Yeah.
A lot of boobs.
Yeah. Dolly wears a lot of low cut stuff. Yeah. Which she's got to.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the whole.
That's what,
Yeah, she has some pretty fabulous outfits in this. Yeah. They're very, very.
This woman's amazing.
Tom just kept saying that over and over.
This woman's amazing.
Every time she was on screen, this woman's amazing.
This woman's amazing.
Her boobs are just like they were just like defying gravity, like I said. And they put her like in all these like really glittery, very like country like fancy outfits, like super
80s.
like very
country.
very glittery.
Yeah.
Very, very low cut.
Yeah.
Very like hourglass.
Yeah.
kind of like that one red thing she wore was like pretty awesome with like the big puffy like sleeves. I'm like, I might wear that nowadays.
Yeah. She was a Southern woman of epic proportions. Legendary. Legendary. Yeah.
Dollywood is in Tennessee. Yeah.
Tennessee.
Gatlinburg.
Okay, that's
See?
where she's from then.
See, I was right.
Above Mississippi.
How did I know that? I don't know.
I was thinking Virginia maybe, but I think she was in a movie where she played somebody in Virginia, like Coal Miner's daughter or some bullshit.
She wasn't in Coal Miner. Was she in Coal Miner's daughter? That was Sissy Spacek, wasn't it?
Sissy Spacek, yeah. So I must be, for some reason I was thinking that she might have had something to Virginia. So Tennessee, right above Mississippi.
Yeah. I thought there was like some other, I had some other like facts down here that, this is kind of funny. So,
when you hear her voice, that's it. That's the way Southern women from my childhood sounded. A lot of my relatives still sound like that on my dad's side. There are probably still some out there that sound like that. I think internet maybe got rid of a lot of that accent, but that's the way they sounded. I don't think young people sound that way anymore, but that's the way the Southern accent sounded.
Yeah, my grandmother and her sister, who are from Tennessee, sounded like Dolly Parton sounds.
Yeah, and the pitch. Southern women had a higher pitched voice. You know, I did it out. It's like that. They were always up here.
Y'all come back now.
Get up and you know, out in real strong R's, stuff like that, real strong R's. But that's kind of retro. You don't hear it in young people today. But that was, my generation and older.
Dolly had some great lines in this too, some great fucking dialogue. I just really liked all the dialogue in this. It was like super funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is what Burt Reynolds said, because now this was 1982, so Burt Reynolds had directed some movies prior to this. Burt Reynolds said that Dolly had 2 directors fired before we started because I'd made so many movies and she hadn't. Everyone thought it was me. He just thought it was funny that she'd only been in I think she was in 9 to 5. I think that was 1980. Okay. I want to say. I kind of want to watch that again. That was that was Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin and her. Because I haven't seen that in a really long time either. But I think it was 1980. So she'd been in that. I don't know if she was in anything prior to that. So she'd only been in 1 or 2 movies up to now, and then she could just come in and fire the directors. Burt Reynolds thought that was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But everyone thought it was me because I had been in a bunch of movies.
Bob Apple said Barbara Walters tried to fucking break Richard Pryor's balls too. He just gave her cold hard truth. Yeah. Because fucking Pryor had a fucking rough upbringing too. He was born in a whorehouse. His mom was a prostitute.
Yeah.
And he's fucking open about his rough upbringing, He was rags to riches story. And he made that just on the back of fucking sheer talent and charisma, And fucking, only thing that was fucking I feel bad about Pryor is that he was a huge fan of Superman. And he grew up watching Superman. He loved fucking Richard Donner's Superman. When he got a chance to be in Superman 3, he was really disappointed with the way that one turned out. He wanted it to be just as epic as the first 2. And I feel bad for Pryor.
That does make me really sad. I don't know why. That just makes me inordinately sad, that fact.
Yeah, it kind of fucking makes you kind of fucking go, ugh. And it puts a lump on my throat. Because he died later on, but he wanted Superman 3 to be as epic as 1 and 2. And he grew up watching that. He said he watched fucking 1 and 2 just over and over again. He loved him. And they wanted him to kill Superman in the original script. He said, I'm not going to kill Superman.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? They had to change it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. And what I was going to say was that...
Or try to kill Superman.
What you kind of have to do, and I think what Dolly was good at doing, and what some other celebrities are good at doing too, is that if you have somebody coming at you trying to shame you for something, you can't really have any shame.
Right.
You can't really have any secrets. You can't really have anything you want to hide necessarily, because then that's something that they can use against you. If they just come at you saying this, that, the other, which is funny because we were talking about a scene in this movie, like I said, where Burt and Dolly have a big argument because she said that because of all the brouhaha that she was going to close down the whorehouse just until everything blew over, and then she had forgotten about this big football party, and she's like, well shit, okay, well we'll just keep it open this one night and then we'll shut it down. And then Burt found out about it and got really mad. He's like, you gave me your word that you were going to shut it down. So they had this big fight, And then at the end of it, like, she's like reading him the riot act, even though everything she says is right, is like correct. And then he just calls her a whore to her face. And I'd have been like, and she got really upset, but I'd have been like, if it was me, I'd be like, yep, that's right.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I'm a whore, so what? But yeah, so they couldn't have that because
Sousa said that he was raised by his grandma. Yeah, I think he was, but I thought he said his mother was a hooker. Richard Pryor.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to look.
That's how I remembered it. I might be wrong, but that's how I remembered it.
Yeah, Zusia said, I love Dolly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, she seems like a delightful person, and she's cute as a button in this. Yeah. She is just like so funny and just so cute, and just like her boobs are just like gravitating around.
Yeah. About not having secrets. Again, Oscar Wilde said, if you've got any skeletons in your closet, you better learn how to make them dance.
Yeah, that's essentially
that's
just like an artistic way of saying that.
You can make money off of your skeletons in your closet.
And like I said, then nobody can really like they can't attack you because you've already like laid everything out on the table, and you're not embarrassed about it. You're like, yep, that's me. Deal with it.
The skeletons in your closet are what you're using to make money.
Yeah.
That's, so you can't attack that.
I wanted to say, too, another fun fact that I learned about this movie was that, like I said, it made a lot of money and was kind of like the highest grossing live-action musical of that year, of 82. And it was the movie that knocked E.T. off the #1 spot. E.T. had been #1 for 6 weeks, and this movie came out and knocked it off. Like I said, this made like $70 million in 1982. That's like pretty good for like a country musical about a whorehouse.
Yeah, back in those days.
Back in those days, I mean, that's kind of like a big deal. It was like one of the highest grossing movies that year. And like I said, I remembered, I hadn't seen it in probably 30 years at least, but I saw it multiple times on cable back in the old days. Probably when I kind of feel like I was probably like, let's see, if it came out in theaters in 1982, I was 10 years old. I didn't see it in the theater, but it would have been on cable like a year or two later. So I guess I would have been like 12 or something like that when I first saw it. And I just saw it a bunch of times because I feel like it was always on. And the guy that directed it, his other movie, Foul Play, he did 9 to 5 too. His other movie, Foul Play, I feel like I saw that even more times. Yeah. And now that I'm reminded about that, I was like, now I kind of want to watch that again because I remember liking that a lot. It was like a mystery story, but funny, like a mystery comedy with Chevy Chase in it and Goldie Hawn. So I'm gonna have to. That's what I'm thinking of, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
But this one, it's a good musical. It's worth putting in the pile with the other good musicals that you watch regularly. I don't know if T's seen it. T and her husband, they like musicals, so I might recommend it to her. I'm not a big fan of country music.
Yeah, me neither. But
and this one here, the story is good enough, and the country songs they're kind of not your hardcore country. It's more mass appeal kind of country music. It's just the motif of the song that fits the story, so it makes sense in the context of the story. And what drives with this story is Burt and Dolly and Dom DeLuise drive this story. And it's the story more than anything else, I think. The story and the visuals.
Yeah, because there's musicals and like there's music and like dance numbers in it. Yeah. But a lot of it is dialogue.
It's just dialogue, yeah.
So like every now and then. So I guess it's kind of more like Grease in that way, where it's like, they bust out into song every now and then, but a lot of it is just like dialogue and story, and I think that's kind of like the heart of it.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
Yeah.
It's a good mix of stuff.
Yeah, it's not like one of those ones where like every single thing is like singing.
Yeah, like song, song, and song, and song. No.
Yeah, they're pretty like well spaced, I think.
Yeah. So if you don't like country, you'd still like this. That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, the songs are still fun anyway.
They're just fun songs.
They're just fun. Yeah, they're just kind of like.
They got funny lyrics and shit about being hookers. Hookers and
funny songs about being a hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like sex and fucking getting in trouble and fucking songs about politicians who are trying to sidestep questions. Just it's just good. It's just a good story.
Yeah, I had forgotten how much fun this one was. Tammy said, my husband had an aunt and uncle that worked in Dollywood. They said Dolly was as sweet in real life as she seems on TV.
I've heard that over and over again.
I have as well. She seems like a lovely human.
That she's a good person.
Yeah.
And got a good sense of humor. And she's not dumb. Barbara Walters tried to make her sound like she was just this ignorant fucking trailer trash running around barefoot. You know what I mean? Oh, you're so stupid. It's just boobs. No, evidently she's fucking very smart, very fucking cunning businesswoman. And very charming.
I mean,
yeah.
I grew up in a trailer park.
Yeah.
I walk around barefoot.
Doesn't mean anything.
And I have big boobs too.
Yeah.
And I am
anything.
absolutely not dumb.
Right, Jenny can write whole fucking books. they're like scholarly fucking books about damn fucking forensics and shit. So your background doesn't mean as much as people think it does. A lot of people are self-made.
Well, like I said, you just can't judge people immediately until you know them. You know what I'm saying? You don't really necessarily.
Some people are just born with good genes and they just fucking rise to their appropriate level. That's a lot of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, so.
And the South had good genes. It did. That's why a lot of us left. They come back though. Just depends on what generation you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that'll do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow night is the regular show. What time do you want to do it? Do you want to do it at 6 or 7, or what do you want to do?
Oh, tomorrow we can do it like 6 or so.
Let's do it at 6 instead
6
of
or
5.
7, whatever.
So then maybe I'll announce it tomorrow, when I do the
a
thing.
little bit later. Give people more time.
So tomorrow night's the main show, which is going to be episode 292. Yeah. And overwhelmingly in the Patreon poll, the one that won, I kind of had a feeling that this one was going to win, are cold case updates. Yeah. Now, so we're going to talk about some missing persons cases that we've covered on some of our old shows that have had new developments in them. And there's also a couple of murder cases that I had previously talked about that have been solved or as good as solved, and I kind of wanted to talk about those as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do cold cases solved and updated, and it'll be fun. There's just a bunch of cases that I have that I want to talk about, so that should be fun. Like I said, we'll probably do it at 6 instead of 5, and we might just, like I said, we might just move stuff later, because I do kind of feel like the 5 o'clock, a lot of people were missing them, because probably, like I said, at least this time zone, they're probably on their way home from work and can't listen to it. So we'll wait a little bit longer until everybody's home. I know everybody's in different time zones, so... But we can't. It's just we can't please everybody. So it's just kind of we just got to do what we got to do. So so thanks for dropping by on our later show this evening, and we will see you guys tomorrow evening. Bye.